Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Just depends on when you're watching this, right? Hey, I picked the topic this week of the storm. I mean, Tuesday was insane. It was like a storm day instead of a snow day. The rain was so intense up here. The wind was howling. The flooding was going on. Things were flying around. I was waiting to see Toto pop up. But in all seriousness, the storm, it had some intensity to it. Power outages, flooding, even at the church building, there was flooding in the basement. I mean, there was a lot of rain. I know it felt like we had like around 8 inches, I think, that dumped down in our area. And yeah, depending on where you lived, the water ranges were different. And many of us know the verses in chapter 8 of Matthew when Jesus calms the storm and he says, "Then he got into the boat and his disciples followed him. Suddenly a furious storm came up on the lake so that the waves swept over the boat. Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him, saying, 'Lord, save us, we're going to drown.' He replied, 'You of little faith, why are you so afraid?' Then he got up and he rebuked the winds and the waves, and it was completely calm. The men were amazed and asked, 'What kind of man is this? Even the winds obey him.'" Now, it's interesting because this scripture's passage, we could get into it for a long time, but I just want to share this thought with you. Jesus sleeps through storms. The storms that we think are going to drown us and take us out in life and make us a mess, Jesus calms in. We see this glorious control of nature. We see this glorious control of just authentic power to tell the waves to just calm down. I think sometimes that we forget that we have that same power that dwells in us. Now, I'm not saying we're not necessarily going to walk out and just stop storms, because there needs to be intention with God's miracles. At the same time, though, can we find rest in the midst of our storms in life? Can we find moments to sleep in the boat? I go back to that time and time again because many people, including myself, when things get stressful, tough, and anxious, we tend to focus on the storm and not ourselves. We tend to think about those things around us that just make us go, ah! Instead of us slowing down and centering ourselves. I think time and time again, we as believers need to remember that the one that allows crazy storms to come into our life also is the one that allows us to have beautiful moments like this. I mean, this picture is beautiful. This capture of lightning on the plains of the United States, and just the beauty that can come in a storm when you sit back. And on Tuesday, I ended up just taking a cup of coffee and watching the wind and the rain out the back of my deck. And I had a moment just enjoying the rain and the sounds, and there was this calmingness that happened in the storm. I don't know about you, but in my life, I need to find those calm moments. I need to find those times when we can just rest. And as the wind's blowing around me, finding shelter with the Lord. When the wind is howling and the rain is pounding and the floodwaters feel like they're going to rise and the waves are crashing, to be able to find rest in the boat. And I believe that this moment with Jesus, he was performing miracles and teachings before, he was performing miracles and teachings afterwards. I believe this moment, though, is for us to remember that he is the Almighty. And what we think is tragic, he will use for his glory.